Hi everyone, Jessie here. We're about to hop into a quick flow for your back, for your side body, just a couple moves, a couple stretches to help you wind down. This is great if you've been sitting all day or you just want to move a little bit, and it'll be quick. So we're gonna hop right into movement here. If you come to the top of your mat, ground down through your feet, just take a couple big rolls with your shoulders, taking up as much space with your movements as you can. And go the opposite direction. And then come back into center. Relax your arms and sweep your arms out as far as you can and up overhead. Big full breath in at the top. And as you exhale, bend your knees and come into ragdoll. Hedge opposite elbows. For a moment, just try on bending one knee and then the other. Just alternating side to side, keeping your back and your neck heavy. And come into stillness. You can add just a little micro bend into your knees, shift a little weight forward in your feet, and take a big breath in. Get heavier on your exhale. Again, fill up as far as you can with your inhale. Get heavier as you exhale. Release the crown of your head. Let your neck grow a bit longer. One more time like that. Big inhale. Full breath out. Halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. And just plant your hands and step back into your downward dog. Once you arrive in your down dog, you can pedal out your feet once again if that feels good. And lift up both of your heels. And allow both of your heels to fall to the right. As they come to the right, lift your hips higher and root down through your left arm especially. Roll your left armpit towards the ground. But keep your weight heavy towards your right hip. Get longer through your left side from your fingertips all the way up through your left hip bone. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Bring your heels back up through center. And let your heels fall to the left. So same thing, root down through your right arm especially. Push hard, hard, hard into your right hand. Roll your right armpit down so your chest stays square towards the ground. And let your heels get heavy towards your left as you melt your chest towards your thighs. Relax your neck. Full breath in. Full breath out. Lift your heels up. Find your child's pose. In your child's pose, keep your arms lifted for a moment. So your elbows stay lifted. And then from there, pull your belly in slightly. Walk your fingertips a little bit further forward if you can. And then melt your underarms down, resting your forehead down. Spread your shoulder blades apart, broaden through your upper back. Take a big breath. Walk your hands in towards your knees. Bring your knees together to touch. And keep your hands back by your feet as you then fold forward over your legs. Oops, that's my mic. Your knees will stay together. And let your shoulders just drape over your thighs here. With your knees together, there's a little bit more of a stretch in your lower back, so see if you can breathe into that space. Take one more deep inhale, filling up a little bit further than you think you need to. Sigh it out. Use your hands to help you come back up to a seat. And from there, just roll to one hip and take your legs out in front of you. So we'll take the soles of our feet together, our knees wide, coming into Baddha Konasana. And bring your feet a little bit further in front of your hip bones, about a forearm's distance away, so that you can slide your arms underneath your shins and cup your feet with your hands. If this isn't available to you, you can just grab your feet and use your elbows to externally rotate your hips a little bit more, just gently encouraging your thighs to come down. Either way, with an inhale, lengthen your spine, drawing your chest towards the top of your mat. And from here, keep a bit of an engagement between your shoulder blades to keep your chest open. As you pull your hands towards you, use your shins as resistance and just lengthen your spine forward. Use a little bit of a lower back and hip opener here. And if all feels well in your lower back and you want to start just relaxing your head down, you're welcome to do that. That'll shift the stretch a little bit. Relax your jaw. Keeping your arms as they are, halfway lift. If you don't have your arms weaved under, weave your right arm under. Everybody else, remove your left arm. You'll take your left hand to your left thigh. I want you to lean into your right elbow, so lean back a little bit and turn your chest open towards the ceiling. You can look up past your left shoulder. Try on straightening your left arm, pressing your left thigh away from you. You kind of have to lean back a little bit for this one. You can use your right arm as resistance against your shin so that you don't tip over. And hopefully you feel a nice stretch along your left waist and your QL. Breath in. Breath out. Come back through to center. Weave your left arm under as you take your right arm out. Same thing, right hand comes to your right thigh. Lean back into your left elbow. Roll your right shoulder back so that your chest turns up slightly towards the ceiling, and press your right thigh away from you. Your right arm may or may not straighten out. And just turn your gaze up at the ceiling. Turn the gaze up, it encourages you to lift your heart up a little bit more, but if this bothers your neck, you can always just turn your gaze down towards your left shoulder. Make your way back into center. Take both arms out and lift your left knee straight up towards the ceiling. We will come into a half hero's pose on that left side. So your left knee will point straight forward. Your left foot is just by your left hip and your right foot is touching your left thigh. Toes right up by your knee. Take your hands behind you towards your right and then let your left hip lift off of the floor. Now pull your navel in towards your spine to engage your abs and continue to twist towards the back of your mat. Now, for some people, this is already going to be enough of a stretch. You can keep your hands grounded. You might feel something in your left quad or hip flexor, maybe your back. If you want a bit more, you can work towards lowering your right forearm towards the ground. And maybe your left forearm to the ground as well. Or stretch through your left arm, reach it away from you. I have a wall in my way. Normally I would have my left arm parallel with my right arm though. But just experiment a little bit. Continue to lift your left hip up. It's easy to over twist our lower back, so this one, as good as it feels, you want to keep an engagement in your core, activity going on in your belly. Softly, keeping your core active, come back up to center. Turn your left foot around so that your feet face each other again, and just lift your right knee. Point your right knee forward, we'll come right into the other side. So lengthen your spine, bring your hands to the left, allow this right hip bone to lift up. And again, this might be enough for you, just finding this twist. Maybe you already feel it in your back, maybe not. And then from there, if you feel good and there's no pain in your lower back whatsoever, you can release your left forearm down, maybe your right forearm, or stretch your right arm out as far as you can. A lot of times our back pain is caused by tightness in the hip flexors from sitting down all day. So the hip flexors will get tight, and then those will kind of tighten your back. So by releasing our quads and hip flexors, that can be really a nice way to add a little bit of relief for back pain. And of course, everyone is different. Every, I think, source of pain is different for most people. So I'm not saying this will fix your back pain by any means, but for me, when I do have back pain, this is one of the best things I can do is some lunges or some stretches like this that will help release the front of my legs and hips. Take one more breath in and a breath out. Slowly make your way up. And go ahead and release this right leg. Just stick it straight out in front of you, and you'll turn your whole body to come into a wide-legged fold. So if you take your legs out wide here, flex your feet. If you have a really rounded spine, grab a pillow or a block and sit on it and just focus on flexing those feet and working towards straightening your legs without locking your knees. If you are comfortable here, lengthen your spine first. Try to keep your spine really long as you come into a fold. So for some people, you will literally be right here. This is your fold. Keeping a long spine is your work, and that's where you should stay. Breathe into your inner thighs or your back or your hamstrings, whatever it is that's keeping you up here. Breathe. As your body starts to release, the stretch will probably begin to shift to a different place. Okay, so for those of you who can come down a little bit farther, you can come down to your forearms. Try to keep your knees and your toes pointing straight up towards the sky. And for some people, you might be all the way down on the ground. And that's also fine. Just try to, again, make sure you're not rounding your back, right? We want to find a slight lift of our hip bones up and back. Active legs. Take 3 more big breaths. Make your way back up into a seat. And from here, you'll simply take a side bend towards your right. So if you take your right hand to your right big toe, you can either come here or just grab a hold of your shin, wherever you can grab a hold of. I like to take my elbow to the inside of my leg as leverage and bring your left arm straight up. Now from here, as you're bending towards the right, open up your left chest like you're pulling your left arm back as much as possible. Really just to pull your ribs back. Stay rooted through your left hip. And maybe keeping your chest open, extend your left arm overhead. Once you get there, continue to spiral your ribs open towards the ceiling. Some of you may or may not catch your foot. Make sure you don't collapse down into your chest just to get that foot. Keep opening your torso. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. Take a big breath as you stretch a little further through your fingertips. Stay for the exhale. And as you inhale, draw yourself back up to center. Lengthen your spine. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Lean over towards your left. Send your right arm straight up towards the sky. Pull your right arm back, opening your ribs up towards the ceiling and root down through your right hip. And this might be it. This might definitely be it. This posture is very challenging for a lot of people. So if you're already feeling a lot of a stretch, just stay here. Only if you feel good and you want more, stretch your right arm overhead. Then the work again is to keep rotating your left ribs to stack on top of your right ribs. So you get this nice, right ribs to stack on top of your left ribs so that you get this nice stretch along your right waist. Inhale. Exhale. Pull yourself back up. We'll take one more forward fold, lengthen your spine, and on your breath out, bow forward one more time. Remember to keep a long spine. We'll simply stay here for 3 big breaths. Engage the muscles of your quads. Flex your toes up towards the ceiling. Draw the pit of your belly in on the bottom of your exhale. Help yourself come back up into a seat. You can bring your legs together and just rearrange yourself back onto your mat. Come right down onto your spine, bringing your knees into your chest. Just give yourself a little bit of a rock side to side here. Giving your kidneys and your lower back a bit of a massage. Keep your right knee hugging in. Extend your left leg forward. Flex your left toes towards the ceiling. And just simply come into a nice spinal twist. Your right leg will come across your body. Grab a hold behind your right thigh with your left hand. And press your right thigh into your left hand to lengthen your right hip forward. Now pull your right ribs and right shoulder down towards the ground. With an inhale, lengthen your spine, right hip rolls forward. As you exhale, draw your right rib bones down. Big inhale. Big exhale. Softly come back into center. Draw both knees into your chest. And extend your right leg forward. Come into a spinal twist in the opposite direction. Again, you'll take your right hand behind your left thigh, press your left hip forward, and then draw your left shoulder down. Expand your ribs a little bit further with this next breath. Exhale completely. And softly roll back into center. From here, come into a happy baby, grabbing the edges of each foot. Push your knees slightly towards the ground outside your ribs, and then press your feet back into your hands. So I want you to tilt your pelvis so that your tailbone is rolling down towards the floor as opposed to off of the ground and away from the floor, right? So towards the ground, and then press your feet up towards the ceiling. Take a big breath in. Long exhale, maybe rock side to side a little bit or straighten your legs out one at a time. And when you're ready, take your feet together to touch in front of you, knees wide, finding your Baddha Konasana. And just for a little extra opening, take your arms up overhead, grab opposite elbows. And then allow everything to soften, including your face, your fingers. Let your elbows be heavy, let your hips and thighs be heavy. And take a few moments to just stay here if you can. Invite yourself to stay present, stay open, breathe. Whenever you feel like you're ready to come out, I invite you to come out on your own time.